This video will review how to complete a case investigation form for a portable enteric bacterial infection. We'll use Campylobacteriosis as an example, since this was the most commonly reported enteric disease in 2015. Remember, the main purpose for collecting information on cases is to try to ascertain cases correctly and to take action to prevent future cases. We urge you to keep in mind that the more complete the information you collect is, the more effective our collaborative public health efforts are for prevention. Let's begin with the patient demographics section of the form. The case investigation form is designed to follow a clinical interview flow of information collection, though that may not be the order of information you receive. Some of the items are of special importance to surveillance. They make up the surveillance indicators that are tracked by the state health department to measure the performance of the surveillance effort done at the local health department. These items are marked by an asterisk on the form. Please remember that all the information on the form is important, but on these asterisk items you'll be graded. Moving on to the investigation summary. Please enter the dates as requested. The next section of the form is the case classification section. This will be easier to complete once the clinical and laboratory sections are completed, so we'll come back to this in the next video segment. The next section is the report source. This will usually be laboratory, unless the hospital or provider office calls you. Moving on to the clinical section of the form. Please be as complete as possible with dates, symptoms, and complications in your patient interview. The more complete the clinical information, the easier it will be to determine the case classification. Remember, the asterisk items are surveillance indicators. Let's discuss some background to better understand the laboratory section of the form. Although the most common specimen source is still stool specimen, for most cases of enteric disease, many clinical laboratories have adopted methods of testing for Campylobacteriosis other than the historical standard stool culture. These new methods are collectively termed culture-independent diagnostic tests. And they come in different forms. They are sometimes called immunodiagnostic tests, with examples including EIA or enzyme-linked immunoassay. Others use polymerase chain reaction, or PCR, to detect presence of the species' nucleic acid sequences, and examples of these include film array panels or gene panels. However, CIDT positive results that are not confirmed by traditional culture and isolation of a pathogen do not meet the case definition of confirmed. The CIDT result does not differentiate between dead or living pathogens in the specimen and does not help us link cases in an outbreak the way that traditional culture results do. That's why culture to confirm CIDT results is very important and required by the reportable disease rule. However, some laboratories do not perform culture of a specimen which is positive from CIDT. These labs should send the specimen to the state public health lab for culture and isolation. If the clinical lab does isolate the pathogen, they should still send the specimen to OLS. Marking the type of test and whether an isolate was sent to OLS on the case investigation form is essential for determining case classification, which is where we'll start our next video segment.